when I was 18, 20, 21, 22, I was not disciplined, right? I was not as masculine as I am today. And when I say masculine, I don't necessarily mean what you look like on the external, because oftentimes that can be a facade, right? Oftentimes that doesn't mean anything. On the inside, I was very emotional, impulsive, right? I wanted to smoke weed. I wanted to do all these different things. I wanted to drink, party, chase women, sleep with women, call out on my job, show up late, do all these different things. I was not disciplined. The only area that I was disciplined in was fitness. For those of you who know, I've been going to the gym at least 5 days a week for the past 8 years, 7, 8 years. So that's the only area that I can say I've been disciplined in throughout the past 8, 9 years, 7 years, whatever it is, right? But as far as discipline emotionally, financially, mentally, I was not disciplined. So therefore, I was not as masculine as I could have been, right? I was not as masculine as I needed to be. And if you want to be the most masculine version of yourself, man, you got to be disciplined, because that's the foundation of being masculine, right? Because you can't be masculine if you're not disciplined. Because if you think of someone that is masculine, he is disciplined his emotions, he has disciplined his decision making. He doesn't make decisions based on emotion, right? He doesn't follow through with his impulsive desires. He skips it. He's like, you know what? No, I don't do stuff like that. I don't eat pizza. I don't eat junk food. I don't eat ice cream. I don't eat soda. I don't drink soda. I don't sleep with different women that I don't know, that I don't like. I don't do things like that. I don't smoke marijuana. I don't smoke whatever it may be. I don't drink. I don't do this kind of stuff because I'm disciplined. I'm masculine, right? And developing discipline is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week, in a month, not even in a year. It's just something that sort of becomes who you are. You either decide that I want to be disciplined for the rest of my life, or I want to be undisciplined. And something beautiful happens when you decide that you want to be disciplined. You start realizing that all of a sudden your life is becoming easier, but yet harder at the same time. Harder in a sense where you're doing things that are hard. You're doing things that you don't necessarily like to do. You're doing things that are not the best. They're not fun. They're not enjoyable necessarily. Like showing up to the gym, going to work, getting a promotion, making money, having that overtime, whatever, saving money, investing, opening a business. It's not necessarily fun, right? It's more fun to be at a party. It's more fun to be high, zoned out in the corner somewhere high. That's more fun. I've been in both situations. But doing something that is hard is obviously going to have a return on investment, whether it's in the long haul or in the short term, right? So you want to get used to doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, at least for X amount of time. It doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, but you want to be disciplined in a sense where you want to do stuff that are hard, save money, invest whatever, so that you can start that business, so you can do whatever you want to do that is going to put you to the next level in life. Okay, but that requires discipline. It's going to require discipline, man. There's no way around it. You can't shortcut something like that. And when it comes to relationships with women, too, you got to be disciplined with that too. You got to be masculine. And in order to be masculine, then you got to be Discipline. Because, like I said, discipline is the foundation of masculinity. What does that mean? What that means is we all know that when you're dealing with a woman, when you're dating a woman, when you're getting to know a woman, connecting with a woman, they're going to be emotional. One day she might be happy, the next day she might be pissed off, the day after that she might be crying, she might be sad, she might be whatever. And you, as a masculine being, as a disciplined man, you can't necessarily you got to be stoic. You got to stay the same. You got to be calm. Give her that calm energy, the calm presence that she needs, especially in her emotional states. Because if she's mad one day, which is one of her emotions, if you match her energy, now you're yelling at her too, and it's like two women yelling at each other. She's not gonna feel safe, right? She's not gonna feel happy. She's not gonna feel like she's around a masculine being. Even though you might look like one on the outside, you might have a beard, you might have whatever, a deep voice, but deep down she's gonna say, "Hey, something's off, man. This seems like a facade. He's not masculine. Why is he yelling at me? Why is he emotional?" Right? So it has nothing to do with what you look like, necessarily. So, that's what women want, man. You got to be disciplined in order to know how to do this, in order to be stoic, to be emotionally stable, emotionally safe. And, with finances, same thing. You got to be stoic at a job. You got to be stoic in a job because one day might be more stressful than the next, and you got to know how to control your emotions and not get emotional and reactive about it. You might have a busy day, you got to do all these different tasks. And now, are you going to stress out and lose your composure? The more you do this, you start losing more respect from your colleagues. And next thing you know, you might potentially lose said opportunity, or you might lose your ability to get certain promotions and etc. So being disciplined is very imperative, man. I can't stress it enough. It's really important. You have to be disciplined. This is There's no other way. Especially as a man, you got to be disciplined. You can't just always do what you want to do and life is fun and all these different things. No, we can't do that, man. We don't get the privilege to do that. I was like, yeah, am I saying just don't have fun and have a miserable life? No, man, that's not what I'm saying. You can have fun, go out, enjoy yourself once in a while, do stuff that you like to do, go hiking, whatever, snowboarding, whatever, do stuff like that. But at the end of the day, man, long term, in the back of your mind that you're going to be doing stuff that you don't want to do. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to show up to work. You're going to do this. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to lift.